to make herself a drink. The bedroom door was open a fraction, just enough that she could see through it. She moved towards it, the palm of her hand holding the wall and her nose almost touching the door. He was still asleep, his hair almost black against the white sheets, his arm resting above his head, and his chest rising and falling in rhythm. She turned quietly, careful not to wake him, and dropped the damp towel onto one of the chairs. She made herself a coffee and slipped into her robe before tiptoeing back outside onto the decking. She would watch the sun rise over the loch. She liked watching the way it crept above the mountains and lit a narrow path of orange across its surface. Soon that narrow strip would turn into a blazing fire of red and gold. She sat down and propped her feet up on the chair opposite, taking in the view. It never failed to consume her, the raw, untamed beauty of it. She'd always been an early riser. Her favourite time of day was dawn, when the sky echoed her own uncertainty. It was neither night nor day, light nor dark. The grey space between the two provided her with a simple comfort she couldn't explain. The world woke slowly, the birds loud, but the people quiet, the gentle rhythm of the water soothing her mind and helping to wash away the nightmares that always lingered long after dark. But no matter how long she sat there, or how mesmerized she became by the sound of it, a trace of the torment would always remain, an echo of something she tried to forget, but knew she never would. Her eyes glanced back towards the door where inside he slept, a night owl rather than an early riser like her. She cradled the mug in her hands and held it close to her chest, the steam rising and warming her cheeks. Her toes were still numb, and her hair tangled and damp, occasional droplets of water tracing the length of her spine. It was going to be a nice day. She could tell by the sky already clearing. The sun would warm up, and the clouds would disappear. It was as if the water knew too. It seemed to shimmer and glisten in anticipation. She breathed in the earthy smells of the forest, and watched as a red squirrel appeared from a thicket of trees. It froze, staring at Alex. Then a moment later, 2 babies appeared. It picked one up in its mouth and led the other back into the tree line. Alex sipped her coffee and watched as the wildlife awakened. Further down the shoreline, a heron stood tall and graceful among the undergrowth, its sleekness at odds with its rugged surroundings. Alex liked spotting them, their statuesque patience as they waited for their breakfast to arrive at their feet. In the evenings, she would look out at the loch in the fading light and wonder what lurked beneath its surface. What secrets did Ness have? Was there a monster in there somewhere? She heard a rustle from the trees beside her, a crunching of leaves. Her head was turned before she'd even realized which direction it had come from. She saw the branches of an ash tree swaying, the leaves vibrating from the sudden unseen force. She stood, the chair scraping against the decking and her hands grasping the wooden railing. Was there something there? Or someone? Her eyes narrowed as she tried to make out any movement, but there was nothing. It was just her imagination, ignited by the things that would forever haunt her. It was draining, always expecting something to go wrong. It exhausted her mind and then her body. The cold water therapy helped, but it couldn't cure the ingrained sense of panic she'd grown accustomed to feeling, the adrenaline that coursed through her veins at the slightest hint of something amiss. She found a certain degree of solace in acknowledging that, on some level, her body was prepared. She finished her coffee and went inside. The room was one open-plan space, the kitchen diner meeting with the lounge. The only thing that distinguished between the two was the change in flooring, cheap linoleum meeting a threadbare beige carpet. The place was furnished when she'd arrived. It wasn't to her taste, but it was home. The walls were wood-panelled with large paintings hung at odd intervals, some depicting the loch, Others focus